Yo, this is your boy from Willet Thrills and Flips. First video, been gone for a little bit. Excuse me. Wow, no way to start the show, huh? So, little time to get things squared away. Green screen's a lot cleaner now. Got a new microphone. Dug my desktop PC out of storage. Moving sucks. I just throw it in there, but now we're back rolling. It's making everything look real beautiful. We're going to check out the press conference today with our General Manager John Spytek, Assistant General Manager Brian Stark, and hey, that water bottle looks a little familiar. I wonder how I got this, you might ask. You'll find out in one of my 3-part future videos. It's in the works, it's coming, y'all. I'm serious. We're getting things moving over here. So without further ado, John Spytek, Brian Stark.
Before you guys start asking questions, I just want to acknowledge the scouting department for the Raiders and all the hard work they put in, really over almost the past year at this point. Really, the draft process every year starts in May, and so, this is really...
Sorry to cut you off there, John. Who else loves, this time of year? Yeah, I love the games and everything, but... who here's ever played when you've played Madden or any of those games where you're just I love the draft for some reason, almost more than the game part itself. Managing the cap, drafting good ass players, and just building a team up. I don't know why, that's fun to me. There's a few games like that on Google Play or wherever you get your apps from. They're not a sponsor of this video. I love UFootball GM. That's a highly recommended one. If you're a general manager nerd like me, you'll enjoy it. But anyway, they're not a sponsor yet. Maybe they should be if they're watching this video. So sponsor me. But let's keep it rolling.
Their Super Bowl, the college scouts in particular, but the scouting assistants and the pro scouts, they've done a phenomenal job this year. And with our first full year working together, it's been a great process. Adding and Brian and Brandon Hunt, Anthony Patch to the mix, John Stiegel, some new names to the Raiders too has been great. And so I just wanted to acknowledge them and be grateful for their contributions. So with that, fire away.
Ron McFadden from ESPN. Have you guys received any calls regarding the top pick? Is it safe to say at this point that you guys are going to stand pat and pick with the first overall selection?
We've gotten
No, John, you better hang up the goddamn phone. Hang it up. Hang it up. John, are you there? Are we doing this trade or not? Did you leave me hanging again? You did this last time.
few calls, and those teams know where they stand right now.
John, what did you learn about yourself where you're maybe last year through the process that adjusted maybe how your approach this year?
It's great having him here, and that's been a big help. But to rely on the people probably around me more than I felt like I did last year. I think I tried to do too much last year, not knowing everybody in the building, having my own vision.
Do you feel he's telling the truth there? Because personally, I felt like he didn't have enough power last year. I felt like Pete Carroll had the reins. I mean, come on. He had his 2 sons taking up coaching spots that they had no experience in. We had the worst offensive line because of his son as the offensive line coach. I think the other one was a quality control or something. Either way, they had no business being where they were. So, did he really have power? I don't think so. I think he's being nice here. Let me know what you think, but nah.
That I was trying to teach to people about the way that we wanted to do it, how we wanted to build it, the kind of person we were looking for. And I think it's always important to really have great people around you and trust.
You were trying to build it the way Pete Carroll wanted it, I think. I think you're just, you're being a pro and I get it, but I think you were trying to build up and try and teach the people what Pete Carroll wanted, and it did not work. So, And we've seen it's been a whole different philosophy this offseason. They went out and they got some ballers on this team. And then it's worked the Crosby magic. Hey, I hope the defense works out, and our offense. So it's been a different offseason. I think this is him truly having control now, and you see a big difference.
And empower them to do their jobs to support you as well as they can. And it's really not about me. It's about the team and the Raiders and the best decisions. And I'm just very grateful to have a great group of people around me, like I acknowledged to start today.
John, you guys in free agency signed guys from good programs, good teams, successful guys. When you're not going to a college draft, how important is that compared to other factors that you're looking at a guy, whether it be talent or ability, that they come from winning programs?
Well, it's really probably the global profile of the player. And certainly there's some programs that we all know do it really well right now. I mean, they're the ones that you see playing in the playoffs and the national championships every year. And I think I think we can all understand that those programs, they have a way about building, teaching, coaching, developing players, which is really helpful. But, we're not going to discredit anybody from a small school or,
We need that here so bad. Can we just teach and build and be a dynasty? Like, we have tried for too long, and I'm sorry, Al Davis, you were great. You embodied what it was to be a Raider, but you cannot just go sign these high-priced people and think, oh, it's all going to work. It's not that way anymore. This isn't like, back in the 80s when we were winning because we were just signing these, like, the Gannons and, all these people in the world and just like, oh, yeah, it's going to work. Just get the fastest dude. I mean, he said it one time. You could teach someone to catch. You can't teach speed. Well, now it's a way different story. You can teach people how to run angles and all these different running techniques, and it pretty much doesn't matter. You could tackle anybody on the field. Speed doesn't matter. We got to get real people that we can build up, build solid depth, build up a strong team. And I love that he's looking at places that have done that they've built. We need to build, not a quick-ass turnaround, build a dynasty. I want to be like, even though I freaking hate them, fuck the Chiefs. Ask Mitchell Renz how he feels about them. Freaking hell, man. I would like a dynasty like the Chiefs, like the Patriots, but without being them, because they both suck ass.
A program that maybe hasn't been as successful. So there's a lot that goes into the whole process, but it's certainly something that we talk about.
I was wondering if you walk us through maybe your process when it's actually you're on the clock. I know you have your board, like, hey, this is our next guy. What is the discussion? What is the actual process like of deciding, okay, this is where we're actually going to go? And maybe how different is it than it was last year when it was your first time on the job and maybe figuring out where you're, how you want to do that?
I think it starts with, are we going to make the pick? And if there's a player that stands out that we feel it's not worth losing, it's not worth even picking up the phone, then we'll just make the pick. But
I like that. If you have to have that player and you don't even pick up the phone, make the pick. If anyone watches Q Myers and his radio show where they do the squad show, Lincoln Kennedy has said it best. Don't overthink it. Make the pick. He's said this about us picking Fernando and all the people saying we need to trade the pick because we don't have the team for him. This that. No, don't be cute. Make the pick. Like, if you haven't seen those, which he's done it a lot of times, highly recommend checking it out. Okay, I'm gonna let John continue.
if it's a player that we're not as excited about, or there's a group of players that we would love to pick from, and we can get value for that, then we're certainly open to listening to that. So I think when you go on the clock, unless you're super convicted that you're making the pick, you kind of just sit there and wait for a little bit and see if your phone will ring. And sometimes you can get really good trade offers that maybe you didn't expect, and other times your phone doesn't ring. So then you just pick. But we try to be open-minded. We try to give ourselves as much time, as allotted to make the best decision for the Raiders. And, we traded back twice in the second round last year and accumulated a bunch of what we thought was really good draft capital, and we'd be open to doing that again.
Scout at heart, did you scout yourself of how you went through that process?
So, I do disagree with you there, John. I know we need a lot of we need talent, but at the same time, I'm already worried about our team's relatively young already. I feel like we don't have yeah, our coaches have a lot of like long-term coaching experience stuff, but we don't have a lot of veteran players either. So that kind of worries me a little bit about one. Like, I think we have enough draft picks already. I don't know if I would trade back. Like, if you're worried about, unless it's like a really, like, you really don't need that player, like he said, I guess. But, like, we're so void of talent. I think instead of trading back, you just get the best player available on the board. Because, I mean, we shouldn't be picky. Like, almost every position still needs an upgrade. Even quarterback. We get Fernando. Hey, what's Aiden done? Granted, I know he's gotten the shitty end of the stick a lot of times, but can you upgrade the backup? Absolutely. Running back? Hey, you need a better backup. Wide receiver? Absolutely. You need depth on your offensive line. You need depth on your defensive line. You really need safety help. Linebackers, I'm not really... I mean, yeah, behind... What happens if N'Kobe Dean or Quay Walker goes down? I'm not impressed with the depth there either. So, like, I'd be trying to take the best player available if it fits one of those spots rather than trading back and then losing out. Just take it. Don't be cute. I'm going to quote Lincoln Kennedy again. Don't be cute. I personally, if it's there, take it. There's no point in trading back for just to trade back. So that does worry me a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't overly trade back this draft. You go and get the players.
How you performed and how the communication all worked after last year?
Yeah, I wrote a lot of things down that I learned in my first year, things that I screwed up in my first year, and with
the first part we screwed up is you played second fiddle to Pete Carroll. Just kidding, just kidding. Don't hate me, John.
us this year, and we've got a fancy new draft room too that I think it's state of the art. I think it's the best in the NFL. I don't think that's up for discussion. So we got to make sure that all the screens operate the right way. The magnets are
I like the sound of that.
fast for the Raiders now, and we were just up there discussing before we came down here the right way to lay it out and get all the information up there. And so that's a process that we're working through right now. But we'll have that thing ready to rock on Thursday.
Again, love the draft. I hope I get to see the draft room. Just saying. Ooh. Like, who else loves when they do when they show the phone calls? Love them. We'll react to those too if they do them this year, where they show the phone calls, which I'm sure they will. I love hearing the excitement of the new draft picks. So, we'll definitely be reacting to that as well. So definitely be sticking around. We're going to be doing a lot more of these.
Thursday next week.
What are some of the intangibles that you would look at in players that might set them apart, that you think would make them a good fit for this team?
Yeah, it's a great question. We talk so much about it. They got to love football. They need to be great teammates. That's really something that is important to Clint and to myself and to really all of us up here is being a great player, person, teammate to the guy next to you, disciplined, accountable. I mean, a lot of the buzzwords, but and a passion to play for the Raiders. I think one of the really cool things about free agency that we just saw is that we had a lot of people that wanted to come here, a lot of really good players that were playing in good programs that sought us out and wanted to be a Raider. And through the draft process, we've certainly felt that this year too.
In terms of drafting best player.
So, that is important to me. Because I feel like, and I'm hoping it's not... Because we've kind of been the team where you're not, like, they haven't really came here because we're a championship pedigree, but because we're willing to throw out the money. And I'm a little worried in a way. Because, yeah, we did get great talent, but, man, we paid them. Tyler Linderbaum, apparently the deal we offered him was $10 million more, or close to $10 million, off the top of my head, that's what I'm thinking. I think it was close to $10 million more than what his former team was offering him. How much was Quay Walker really being offered? I don't know if it was near as much as we're offering. N'Kobe Dean, his contract was kind of hefty. Who's the defensive end we got? Oh my God. I went blank. But you guys know. Even him. We dropped him quite a bit of money. So I'm kind of scared if it's the same thing as before, where we had to kind of overpay to get these guys in. Because we did offer them quite a bit. The receiver too. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm drawing a blank on players' names, but I felt like we kind of might have overpaid a little to get them here. And that's what scares me, because that's been the story of the Raiders, and then it doesn't work out. So hopefully that's the end of that, because it seems like it's happened quite a bit, where we get these big-name guys and we pay them to big-time contracts, and then it don't work out, and then we're biting the bullet for years. I hope we're wrong. I hope they truly did want to be here and it wasn't just for a paycheck.
Their best athlete available versus maybe a position need. How much with what you were able to do in free
That's what I was just
agency
saying.
does that impact maybe you guys on draft night when it comes down to maybe some later rounds?
Go ahead.
Yeah, to me with the draft, it always starts with the value of the player and the best players available. I do think
Good.
that the component of team need can come into play if you've got multiple players graded at the same position when you're trying to break a tie, if you've got similar grades on a player. But I
Okay,
think you always
thank
want
you.
to stay true to your board. I mean, we've got a big staff, our college department, pro guys are involved now. We've got analytics.
Okay, thank you. That is what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Yes, need is important. You don't sacrifice either trading back or getting a player of need over someone that might be better that is in a position of that isn't in a position of need. You use it as your tiebreaker. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Departments involved. We've got a lot of people, a lot of information and data we're gathering to build this board. So we want to hold true to the work that's been put in. But at some point when the grades are awash, then those other factors start to come into play with the decision.
John, when you go through your process, I know last week you met with coaches, your board, is the hay pretty much in the barn right now? Or, I know you can get a security briefing or whatever, but
What
pretty
are you
much is your
talking-
board established for where you got?
What was Hondo? So, for those of you not familiar with Hondo, and I like him. I do. I don't know. A lot of people hate on Hondo. I like Hondo. But I don't know what you were trying to ask there. Something about is the hay in the barn, and you could get a security clearance. Like, I'm assuming he's talking about Fernando. Like, is Fernando the pick, but he's not coming out directly and saying it? I don't. Oh, Hondo. Give Hondo a like and subscribe, damn it. Leave the man alone. Don't be hating. Good old Uncle Hondo. If you're watching this, Uncle Hondo, shout me out and subscribe, why don't you? You're a G, Hondo. Don't forget your Air Force Ones with the black socks. If you know, you know.
Guys are.
I would say that the players are in generally the right spot. And we still have conversations to have. We have a medical meeting tonight. We have a security meeting tomorrow night. And, like Starkey said before, we're going to take all the information we can. And they're small tinkers at this point, but there still are discussions that we're having and information coming in that we have to factor into the total evaluation of the player.
We have a long way to go before it gets to a decision on that. But do you believe that it will be, in terms of the quarterback, playing a young quarterback to start off with, do you think that'll be philosophically based or merit-based when you get through training camp and get down to making a decision?
Well, ultimately, this is a meritocracy, and the best guy will play. It's just really hard to play really well at a young age. But we've seen plenty of quarterbacks do it recently. And, how that goes going forward here, obviously we added Kirk, we have Aiden, and, we'll see how it goes. But, the best man will.
He about damn near slipped there, didn't he? You got who? Aiden? Cousins? Fernando? He about damn near. Yeah, I personally, you said him, let him learn. Because what you do, you let him learn this year. Let him get comfortable with Kubiak, learn the scheme behind the scenes, and then next year, when we have him on a cheap rookie deal still, and we don't have Cousins on the books, a lot of these dead cap gets off the books, we're going to have hella money again. And you go and you build up even more. That is how you do a rebuild. You let him learn. You use that cap space that you have because you have a cheap rookie deal now for your quarterback. You build on that solid team. You keep building. That's the theme here, guys. Building. Talked about it already.
Play.
I know Kubiak mentioned how that's an area on this team that he would like to add depth to.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have 3 safeties on the roster right now too, so that it's just a math equation right there. We need a few more. I think it's a good safety class, and from top to bottom, I mean, there's some guys that you would expect probably to go in 1, and all the way through, to day 3, there's some quality players there, and I think historically if you look for the right things and you find the right guy, that's a spot where you can find quality players maybe later in the draft. Maybe there's some teams that don't value them as much, but overall, obviously it's something we've got to attack, and I'm glad the class looks like the way it does.
We always talk about the draft picks, but what about the undrafted free agents? How many do you think this roster can carry?
Well, again, it'll be who the best players are, and if we're doing the math right now, we've got 66 players on the roster and 10 picks, so we'll have 15 undrafted free agents right now, and our scouting department's going to do a great job of finding the right guys at the right positions and guys that will compete and are about the right things and have a chance to make the roster and contribute.
This question is for you. Obviously, there's so much attention on the number 1 pick overall, but how much more pride and attention to detail do you and your staff put into making sure that you hit on those day 3 picks even more so than the obvious number 1 pick?
Yeah, I think we put the same amount of attention into every player on the board as we work through that, because those picks matter. Those players make it. I don't think that there's any different level of detail that we put in the pick number 1 than we put through any of our 4th round picks or put into the
What? One of them finally slipped. He said straight up, we have not put any more effort into you were going to say Fernando, homeboy. You done slipped. You done did it. All right, go ahead, Brian.
5th round, 6th round, 7th round picks. We're kind of analyzing all the players on the board under the same microscope. So all those picks are important because you never know. There's plenty of 1st round picks that don't make it, and there's plenty of 7th round, 6th round players that do. So it's all about us evaluating the character of the player first, and then evaluating the skill set and how they fit into specifically what we're looking.
I just noticed something else. Sorry, psych major. Gonna happen. Body analyzing. Spytek crosses arms. He's closed off now because he started to mention Fernando, so he's like, closed off. All right.
Looking for and what we're asking those positions to do. So we feel like we can find value all through the draft, so we put a lot of emphasis on all those picks.
Brian, how does your evaluation of picking for need versus best player available, how does that your philosophy mesh with John's?
I think we see it very similar. I mean, we worked together in Denver several years ago, and we've had conversations over the years, and I think that's, part of the reason I was so excited to come with this.
Please don't mention Denver. Just don't mention Denver.
For the love of God! For the love of God! Please!
Don't do it.
Opportunity to work with Spy because we view a lot of the things very similarly, and he'll tell me what he thinks. Obviously, he's the boss. He'll tell me what he thinks when he disagrees, and I'm not afraid to tell him if I see something differently.
He's not.
So I think that's he values that, and I value the relationship, and there's a trust there that we can have open, honest communication, because there's going to be, when you eval a player, it's a long process, and everyone that evals them has a little bit of a different experience. So I may watch different games than he watched during the eval, so we may see the player differently, and you got to have those conversations to kind of find what our truth is on the player. So I think you got to have people willing to speak up and give their opinion and then work it out.
Is there one position group that you see as being particularly deep or that you're particularly excited about in this year's draft?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, you always want to talk about the depth of the draft class. I mean, there's it usually takes a couple years to really figure that out. But I will say that it does feel the safety group has been mentioned. It feels like it's a good safety group. But there's a good group of offensive linemen. There's a good group of receivers. There's some position groups that are pretty deep in the class. That there's players that should have opportunity all through the draft. So there's good players this year for sure.
Spytek pleading the fifth there.
Having the number one pick in the past, I know there's 7 rounds to prepare for, but just first round, where you've had to play out scenarios of, oh, if this happens, then this, if this, then this. Like, you kind of control everything that you want to control at the top. How different is that process?
Well, a lot less energy spent on, hypotheticals. And, we were just talking before we came down here. There's only one team that can get the exact person that they want. And we have that option to us available this year, if we so choose.
I like that mindset. I mean, you get lucky in other rounds and you get the person you want, but it's not a guarantee. When you're the first overall pick, it's a guarantee. But you can mess up. We took Jamarcus Russell, y'all. I'm mentioning him. We could have got Megatron, Calvin Johnson, and we chose the Jawalrus Russell. And it sucks because there were so many other teams behind us that were like, oh, if Raiders don't take him, we'll take him. And he just fooled everybody. He took his money and he ran. Luckily not as much as he could have got, but still. Jamarcus.
And, so outside of that, it's not much different, Adam. I mean, we used to spend, would we do this? If these guys were there, would we trade down? Would we ask for a premium? We only have to do that one time this year with the first round pick. And then you get to the second round and it's just like it was, Do you want to trade up? Do you want to stay? Do you want to trade back? And what would it cost? What would we be willing to give up or acquire in order to do it?
There's been 6 picks in the top 175. I know we talked about last year you guys were aggressive trading down. Could you see a scenario where maybe you could use some of that surplus to move up, back into the second round, et cetera, back into the third round?
Open to all options, Vinny. I didn't think that we were going to trade down twice in the second round last year, and we felt like the trade offers that we got were just too good to pass up. And if someone's looking to bail and we think that there's a really high-quality player we can go get, we'll certainly consider it. And if someone's offering us too...
I'm actually for that. Trade up. For me this year, it's more... I want to see quality over quantity of players this year. Build some solid depth. So if it takes maybe giving up a couple of our later picks this year and moving up and you get that guy, like your guy, do that, please. Like, I don't want to see us use a bunch of picks and then they don't work out. Like, look at last year. I feel like last year was a key example of that. Look how many of them haven't really worked out. Dylan Laube, Darian Porter, I feel like hasn't worked out. Thornton Jr. What did he do? He was being so hyped up, and then he didn't do anything. Caleb Rogers and some of them, they didn't do a whole lot, but I feel like there's a lot more potential there than I think even in Darian Porter, Dylan Laube, Thornton Jr. Like, yeah, we made a lot of picks, but how much of them did really anything happen with Eichenberg and, if they draft them, they don't do anything. There's no point. Rather trade up and get a quality player. They'll actually do something, either contributing as a good good depth backup that can come in and rotate, or, do really well in special teams, or, even push for starter. They might even overtake starter, hopefully. I'd much rather do that. Quality over quantity here.
Much to not pick, then we'll do that too.
You told us last year your son basically insisted you better get Ashton or you were in trouble. So is he wearing him in jersey secretly at night?
I have not seen any of those. It's usually just the Ashton jersey. I meant to mention that before. We have medical, we have security, and we have Jack and Tommy Spytek who haven't weighed in yet. So that's this weekend, and then we'll put the final draft board together.
You mentioned last year that you covet your offensive linemen.
Oh, damn. They, Hondo tried. Kittle's not wearing no Fernandos this year. Damn it, if you don't get SNGT. Shit. I forgot about that. That was great.
Yeah, what do you look about this offensive line class that you're looking at, and how does it feel? Like, how do you guys feel about
Q
the offensive line with
Myers.
Rick Dennison and his experience that he brings to the table?
Well, super excited to have Rico here. He's super accredited. I think he's got 4 Super Bowl rings, and you know, it seems like everywhere he goes, they run the football and they protect the quarterback, and that's a pretty good place to start with an offensive line. You know, in terms of the draft this year, you know, I'm happy that we added the guys we did, but I've never been anywhere where you don't feel like you feel like you've got too many offensive linemen. They're just such a hard position to acquire, and you know, whether it's in the draft, it's almost impossible in free agency. It feels like, especially at certain positions. And you know, just because we've added certain guys through free agency doesn't mean that we won't be looking for offensive linemen too. I'm on record as saying they're sexy as hell, and I stand by that.
John, what is Kirk Cousins?
Hey, cue the song. Sexy and I know it. I was a lineman, so what's up? Hey, I'll still go out there and throw a block. Let Lincoln Kennedy be my coach. I'll get it down.
Cousins bring to the organization, to the quarterback room, and why did he make sense to you?
Well, you know, he's played really good football in this league for a long time, and you know, he went through obviously a challenging time early in his career. Ends up in the same draft class as the 2nd overall pick, and somehow he comes out of that on top. And then, you know, he's been able to do, you know, what he's done at different stops along the way. There's a high level of maturity there. There's an understanding of Clint's offense that I think will help Aiden and any other quarterbacks that join the group. You know, he's hardworking, he's detailed, he's smart, he's been a great teammate places he's been. We've all seen the videos of him with his teammates, you know. Kirk Chains, is that what they call him? I can't remember. But Kirko Chains, yeah, sorry, Kirk, I screwed that up. You know, just anytime you have a veteran quarterback in a room that's played at a high level that you believe can still play well and play at a high level, I think that helps everybody, especially the coaching staff, sleep a little better at night. And again, it's another one of those positions where you can't have too many good players in that room.
Can you speak about the development of Jack Bech and Dante Thornton over this offseason?
Yeah, 2 guys that have spent a lot of time in Las Vegas when they could be elsewhere, and you know, I see a growth in maturity, you know, a hunger.
And they need to be. I wasn't happy with either one of them. Like, that was like what I was saying earlier about how we drafted a lot of players, and I felt like there was a lot of empty promises around them, and they did not deliver. Like, at all. Jack Bech was supposed to basically be the Hunter Renfrow replacement. Dante Thornton was supposed to be this big, tall, deep threat. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. So, now I'm a little jaded. So I hope they're stepping it up.
Heard that, you know, maybe their rookie year didn't go the way that they wanted it to, and 2 guys that are determined to make the most of the opportunity that they have out in front of them.
We only saw them obviously in game time, but what did you guys see from those 2 guys in particular, like in practice, film study, and all that, just to learn a little bit more about who they are?
Well, they're both physically gifted. They're both big, and they work really hard, and it's really important to them. And they seek people out. They look for answers. They look for ways that they can get better. They're always trying to learn, and they work their tails off. It means a lot to both of those guys. And, you know, I'll stand by guys like that. You know, I mean, guys that are willing to lay it on the line and exhaust themselves to get better and be vulnerable and ask questions and take feedback and take, you know, criticism in a sense. I think you want guys on your team like that because you know they're going to get.
Well, I hope they can take criticism because I'm giving quite a bit of it. Their rookie year was not built what it seemed like it was going to be. Because they're being talked up so much, I feel like, and then they just weren't even close. So, make me eat my words, guys, please. I would gladly come on here and admit that I was wrong to both of you. Bech and Thornton. Serious.
Better.
When you guys are evaluating college quarterbacks, in Fernando's case, there's RPO and pre-snap decision-making and coaching. That's kind of the way college football is going these days. When you guys in the NFL have to evaluate that and maybe make the leap of faith that transition is going to be successful at the NFL level, how much of that can you tell just watching tape or talking through it with the prospect and trying to get an idea of where they are in terms of adaptability and learnability for the NFL game?
It's certainly challenging. Not a lot of college offenses look like NFL offenses right now, but I think you're looking beyond just what that can do. I mean, every scheme is a little bit different. Every system is a little bit different. So there's always going to be things to learn. So are they smart? Can they process a lot of information quickly? Do they make good decisions with the football? Are they tough? Are they good teammates? Obviously, can they throw the ball at a level that's required to play quarterback in the NFL? Are they athletic? Can they improvise, or do they have to play in the pocket all the time? And there's lots of things in the scouting world, in the scouting systems that you can pick up on. But I think when you get a chance to spend time with them, like we have with a lot of players in this draft, you start to learn a little bit more about how they work, how they think, how they learn. And we lean heavily on the coaches with that, with the meetings at the combine, in the building, Zooms that we're able to do. And usually the coaches have a pretty good feel like this guy learns it really well, and I feel like, he'll be able to grab and hold on to and remember, and then we can build and build and build.
Last season, as the both of you stood on the sideline for every single game, watching from that first-person field view, how does that kind of help you shape your experiences with this team, and also how you look forward to building a team that can have success from what you've seen when you're on the field with the group?
Well, I think we both answered this. I'll go first. I don't like being confined to a press box or to a small area. I don't like sitting during football games. It feels unnatural to me. I like being in the arena. I miss that about my playing days, and so to be on the field and kind of feel some of the emotions and the highs and the lows, they're fulfilling to me. And I just love being around the guys and having them feel like I got some skin in the game too. And I think you can learn a lot about people in those moments too. And I think hopefully they can learn a lot about me. But it feels unnatural to me to sit up top and be away from it, even though sometimes that's where I end up. But
yeah, for me it was invaluable, especially being my first season here and the opportunity to, like Spy said, to be invested with the players on game day, be down there on sideline, see those sideline interactions, be able to be more involved with them. You get to see who people really are, in those intense situations. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and it really brings. I feel like it allows you to create a different relationship with the players and a better understanding of who they are and what they're going through.
Brian, a lot of GMs in this league don't want to be challenged, and John does. He's not afraid to challenge Tom, but he's not afraid to be challenged. How much is it valuable to you to work for somebody that values your brain and doesn't want a yes guy?
Oh, I think it's an incredible opportunity that I have here with the relationship I have with Spy, with the interaction I've been able to have with the ownership group. Like it's an organization that is very forward thinking and is highly motivated to be a championship organization. And I think that we're fortunate here that the people in charge, they understand that you need to hear your people, you need to take input, you need to take different perspectives. And plenty of my suggestions are like, nah, we're not going to do that, but that's fine. I don't take it personal. And it's a great opportunity because for me, it's been an opportunity to grow, to be able to be involved in so much and to be exposed to so many different things and to be able to.
So I do get a little worried about, I know not all of the minority owners are sticking their 2 cents in, but I just don't want another there's too many chefs in the kitchen moment, like when Antonio Pierce was here. Yeah. I will admit, I thought he was making a brilliant move, bringing in a lot of those former head coaches, Marvin Lewis and what's his name, Philbin, I think. I thought it was a good idea at the time, but then having all those different people, I think, giving input and kind of having their own stamps on the team, I think it actually ended up hurting us. Because it wasn't Antonio Pierce's true word only. It was a lot of pulling in different directions, I feel like. So I'm hoping that with Brady, and I think Richard Seymour owns a little bit of stuff, like, we're not getting too much going on. Like, I hope it's very, like, I want Spytek and his, management crew to have most of the say. Like a football team usually does. GM looks from above, lets the coach get his staff, offensive staff, defensive staff, and let them do their thing. Don't let everyone get too heavily involved, because then we're just going to have another Antonio Pierce situation. Too many people's input.
Find my voice a little bit more too and express myself a little bit better. So it's been a great opportunity here.
The UFL is going on right now. How much time do you guys spend with the UFL, and maybe find a player or two that might be worth taking a look at?
Well, we watch football whenever it's on. It's one of the requirements of the job. And we've got a great pro department with Ben and Jordy and Jordan that, whether it's the UFL, CFL, the IPP program, if there's football going on and there's players that we think can help us, they're watching it. And they do an awesome job with it.
All right, thank you guys.
You want to end on a UFL question?
I know, what an interesting question. I wasn't expecting a UFL question. You never know. You never know. But anyway, thank you for watching. And if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and follow me wherever you enjoy your content. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Your boy's on Twitch as well, at Willet Plays. And then Willet Thrills and Flips for all the others that I mentioned. We're really getting this thing rolling. I have a schedule predetermined now. I'm planning to at least be dropping content 3 times a week. There's going to be a specific day for Raiders, a specific day for thrift and flipping, and then a specific day around the paranormal. And then I'm going to there's going to be 4 days if you include when I live stream game, which is typically right now going to be around World of Warcraft, but I do have a few others in mind. So if you like this content, also check out the couple videos here on screen, and hope you have a wonderful day. See y'all next time.